Greetings and welcome to Zord's Planetary Space Program episode 12. Today we are continuing with the phase 2 operations, that is the mission that will put Kerbals on in order Dress, Eve and Moho. And to do this we are sending up equipment mostly for a space station that's going to be around Eve, and this that we're seeing right now is part of what's eventually going to become that space station. But we are not only launching things that's going into Planetary. This is a regular fuel tanker going up to refuel all the ships that we need to refuel. There's only a small change in the design for this tanker. I'm bringing twice the amount of RCS fuel I usually do, and this is simply because we're using a lot of RCS fuel. So we bring this in and dock it, and now the station has a lot of parts and a lot of lag, but we have the fuel, so we transfer over the fuel, and we brought more RCS fuel than we needed and less rocket fuel than we needed. So this, when I let go of the tanker, it's empty, completely empty of regular fuel, but has plenty of RCS fuel left. So we use the RCS to deorbit it. And while we are cleaning up the station, we can throw this hub with chemical engines away, because no one uses chemical engines in space. And this we can also do using only RCS fuel, because there's a small amount of RCS fuel in every modular engine, so we can use RCS fuel for the deorbiting burn and still have full RCS fuel on the service ship when we bring it back. And of course we dock this ship back where we got it and refuel it, and now we are going to need a new set of engines, a new set of modular engines, because we're going to launch more things in the future that can need modular engines, or at least so we can presume. I haven't launched any ships of this particular variant recently because I have been able to launch the modular engine hub on other things, but not today. Couldn't find anywhere to fit it in, so just guess I have to launch them separately, even though it seems like such a waste. Not that anything costs anything. Damn, this thing is hard to dock. There we go, finally. And I know what you want to see. You want to see me switch all the engines, all 8 of them. So that's gonna be a good way to pad out the episode. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. That would be horrible. Instead, let's fast forward until we are going to send our ships away. And as always, the first thing we do is to dock the pusher onto the back of the cargo ship. And this is, as always, a bit tricky. I said so before. And here we see proof that it is kind of hard, as the pusher bounces on the engines, whose hitbox is slightly larger than the model itself. But we finally got it in place, and we disabled the crossfeed because we want the pusher to use its own fuel, and we do our minmus burn. This is, as always, 900 and something meters per second, and we usually require a correction burn once we get out there because of minmus inclined orbit. But we'll see this time. We should be along the plane where minmus, yeah, you saw that, it was just grazed the sphere of influence. But of course the pusher isn't going that far out, it's going to return. And this time I make sure to keep track of where the mun is, so that I don't fly into it, even by accident. And meanwhile, out around Minmus, we are going to do some maneuver burning to get us into orbit correctly. This would be the space station tanker that we sent out first, or previous episode. So we just get this into Minmus orbit, and when we're there, we're going to plan our encounter with the beta station, like so. And from here we are basically doing what the alarm clock tells us to do, because there is a lot of things going on at the same time. For example, the alarm for the Dress lander and its tanker to cross into Minmus sphere of influence went off, but it's not going to. Something's wrong, I don't know what. So with quite a lot of maneuver nodes, we managed to get it to get to Minmus, even though it's like a week late. Doesn't really matter, because if we get to Minmus within 18 days or so, we have time to do everything we need to do before launching to Dress. So we do a maneuver node here, switch ship. This is the pusher doing its aerobraking, which is always fun. Look at the flames, yes. And we want to adjust this new orbit with a maneuver node of 130 something meters per second, which is a lot cheaper than it would have been if I just did the burn without any aerobraking. And here we see one of the disadvantages with using Minmus a lot for orbital maneuvering. You tend to overshoot your interception burns because your orbital velocity is so much higher than it is around Minmus. Either way, I get back eventually and refuel, ready for new missions. Here is our third ship going to Minmus and doing the same thing, just getting into orbit, then actually getting into a captured orbit and trying to rendezvous with Beta Station. And it was quite easy this time. We managed to line it up quite well. I don't know what I was thinking when I made that earlier maneuver node, when we can just make a simpler maneuver node and have a lower relative velocity when we get to the station. Just trimming it a bit there, yeah, that looks good. Back to the other ship, the third ship this would be. Yeah, this time we can do it with just one burn, getting to an encounter with just one burn. Back to the Dress lander and tanker, doing its... Well, we're basically doing a Minmus orbit capture burn while not in orbit around Minmus, or half a burn. Because it looks like I'm wasting a lot of fuel, and yeah, I'm wasting quite a lot of fuel, but not as much as it would seem, because when I encounter Minmus later, I'm going to have a lower relative velocity and I'm going to need to spend less fuel making my orbit a captured orbit. So it's not all bad. Now we start getting the encounters from the ships to Beta Station. So the first one is the station hub. And yeah, you can think this is weird because I did not launch the station hub as my first ship. But it's all about how you manage to time your Minmus orbits. Because there can be several days difference depending on where the Beta Station is when you come into Minmus. Second ship to arrive at Beta Station is the tanker, or yeah, the station tanker. The tanker that's going to become our space station, just like we built Beta Station. It feels kind of good to use tankers as station cores, because it means you have a lot of fuel capacity, and it's simple, based on an existing design. And yeah, now it's a bit meta with a station built from a tanker being docked with a tanker that's going to become a station. You better take the correct one when you leave, which isn't hard because Beta Station has donated its engines. And finally, the ship we launched earlier this episode arrives at Beta Station. This is really all I have for you this week. Sorry, no Eve Ascension ship yet. I think I have it next week. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye!